Hi, I'm Eshaan, reporting for Kids First. And today I'm excited to speak with Tai Poole, the host of the Webby award-winning podcast, Tai Asks Why. Tai was awarded Best Host in a Series at the 2019 Canadian Podcast Awards. Season 3 of the podcast released a few months back on January 13th, 2021, with 10 25-minute episodes. Besides podcasting, Tai has represented Canada twice in the World Mathematics Olympiad, is an accomplished pianist and swimmer, and is best known for his insatiable curiosity.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I'm curious, how did you first get into podcasting?
Oh, it's a really strange story. So it started with my grade 4 teacher was a friend of someone who was making a podcast, right? And she wanted to get a kid on for diversity, right? So she reached out to him, and he was my grade 4 teacher, so he referred it to me. So I was on that podcast, and it was called Sleepover, and I had a great time. And actually, the producer of that at the time, Veronica Simmons, she liked me so much, she just decided to approach us later and just say, "Hey, you want your own podcast?" And I was like, heck yeah. I'm not going to say no to something like that. So that's pretty much the genesis of how it all started. Yeah, it's 3 years now, something like that. I don't know. It feels
Nice.
like it forever, but no, I love doing it.
That's awesome. That's great. So what have you learned from your journey on Tai Asks Why?
Now, each of the episodes, it is a journey, and it all starts with a question, and it tries to reach an answer. But I learned about things. I learned about things other than just sciencey answers, right? I actually used an episode like what happens after you die, and I kind of used it to tackle with the death of my grandfather. So I used that to like kind of cope, and it was a really surreal experience because I didn't necessarily find an answer, but all I had to do was try to find some closure for me. And there's other ones, like I've learned about a social issue with the Equitable Internet Initiative in another episode. So, it at the end of the day, I do learn answers about the world around me, but sometimes it goes a little bit further than that, you know?
Right. Yeah. And actually, going off of that, I have two questions, but I want to first start out with how do you think that science helps you maybe answer like deep questions that you have about yourself or about your surroundings?
Hmm. I think at the end of the day, my curiosity just comes down to me wanting to break things down into really simple terms, because it's all just about kind of my perception of the outside world or some of the things that I think like about myself. And I'm not quite satisfied with like what's at the face value. So I kind of want to know more. So I like the idea of using science to try to like get it down to these super simple concepts. So it can be super easy for me to understand. And then now that I like really get it, I can also bring it to all of my listeners.
And so just moving forward, actually, I wanted to touch on one other thing. I love the interesting topics that are in each episode of the podcast. So where did these topics come from? Did you actually ask them once?
Yeah, for a lot of them I have. Before I went off asking experts, I was like asking my parents, and I think they got a little sick of me pestering them. But it all kind of comes from me it's all just curiosity, Sometimes it happens on my walk to school because I put in like some music and I just walk around. And, like I'll just see something, right? And it just kind of like I always think of it as kind of like lightning strikes me and it's like an idea and it's like, and I go, why? It's like, oh, that's the name of the podcast. So it's very strange, but yeah, it's just curiosity will kind of strike me. And although I don't really ask my parents too much anymore, there are definitely things that I do ask.
That's great. I think definitely one of the big things that marks childhood as being different from other stages of life is that I think as kids, we have a level of curiosity that's like different from anyone else or any other stage of life.
Yes, exactly. I absolutely agree with it so much. I think like a pro to having like kids in podcasting is that we can have a different perspective. We see the world from a different perspective in like a literal sense as well. So I think like our curiosity it can run rampant, and it's not a bad thing. I think kids definitely have a fresh take.
For sure. Yeah. And so did the recording process for the podcast change during COVID-19? And if so, then how?
Oh, you better believe it did. I mean, we weren't able to record in the studio, which we normally do, right? So what ended up happening was that I got it's cut out by the background, but we got equipment shipped to us, and like we set up in my dad's closet, right? And then like it's like
Oh,
a
wow.
mic and then a little recording, and then it's like all the way down at the end of the line is like my dad with his headphones, with the headphones on, and he was like my sound engineer. So we figured something out. Now, you said you started this in the summer, so have you been doing all of this like online?
Pretty much, actually, yeah. Ever since I joined Kids First, a lot of this stuff has been digital for me. And actually, I've been in journalism for a bit. And for the past year or so, it's totally changed. Everything's become super digital. Like Zoom has become a thing, video conferencing has become a thing for
I
sure.
know, right?
All right. So, Ty, you're a bit of a renaissance man with math, piano, swimming, and podcasting all under your belt. So, how do you balance all of these interests as well as school?
Well, I can say it's a little bit tricky. Because of the current situation happening with the world right now, I can't swim, so that's one less thing to do. But I think in a way, staying at home, it has helped me with other passions, like because I'm at home a lot more, it's easier to do recording, and I've done a lot more piano, right? Like I can't really go outside, so I just sit in front of the piano and I stare outside. And I don't know. I mean, I'm very glad that my parents have given me a lot of freedom to get my work done. So I've found a rhythm in the quarantine to just kind of sometimes when I need to take a break and sometimes when I need to just work because you got to get it done eventually.
Right, right, absolutely. Uh, Also, as a kid, what's your message to other kids besides the whole using your time well? To other kids who are inspired by all that you've done and maybe want to get into podcasts, any words of wisdom to them?
Go for it. I mean, I still consider how I got started a massive stroke of luck, serendipity, but like just go for it. If you have curiosity and you have passion, you really care about what you do, you really make that impact and people can really see that authenticity and it really catches. It's very attractive. And like I said, right now kids we're starting to like have an uprise in podcasting and stuff like that because we have such a unique take. So if you want to do it, like go for it. If I was able to do it, you'll definitely be able to do it. And probably maybe a little bit better than me.
No, absolutely. That's amazing advice for sure. Yeah, go for it is perfect, especially in this time when everything's digital. So generally, there's more availability of opportunities as well.
Yeah, if you have a phone and like a computer to edit it on, boom, you got yourself started.
All right. Thanks so much for speaking with me, Ty. You can listen to Tai Asks Why on Tracks. Be sure to check it out. This is Eshaan reporting for Kids First, signing off. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss my next interview or those of my awesome Kids First teammates. Bye!